Season 1.
Before the show had its official premiere, the creators released a series of 20 minisodes, both on Disney XD and on the internet, introducing each Avenger in solo adventures. When combined, these 20 minisodes make up what we know now as the first 5 episodes of the series. This was a fantastic idea, as it established that each character was from a very unique setting, and therefore increasing the anticipation when these disparate personalities finally joined forces. Basically, it was the same strategy that they used for the cinematic universe, and it worked like a charm, as the first episode, Breakout Part 1 and 2, premiered to a huge viewership. Now it's time for some rapid fire reviews, as I take a quick look at each of the 47 episodes that followed the micro-series. As usual, I'll do my best to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, for the sake of those of you who are yet to experience this wonderful show. So let's start with The Breakout, Part 1 and 2. At the time of this show's premiere, there was a comic book series called New Avengers, in which a new iteration of the team is formed when a group of random superheroes respond to a breakout at a supervillain prison. This episode took that concept and multiplied it times 4, as all 4 of the supervillain prisons in the Marvel Universe mysteriously shut down at once, which gives way to a catastrophe worthy of the attention of multiple heroes. The pacing and editing in this premiere episode is superb, and I count it amongst the greatest TV pilots I have ever seen, as we intercut between 4 different stories, only to have them converge into a single plot at the end. Iron Man battles tech-based villains at the Vault during a prisoner transport. The Hulk dukes it out with Gamma villains as he escapes from the Cube. Ant-Man and Wasp do their best to survive the malfunctioning micro-prison called the Big House, which is growing to regular size, bringing down the helicarrier that houses it. And last but not least, Graviton, who is also voiced by Fred Tatasciore, escapes from the Raft, which is reserved for the most dangerous villains in the Marvel Universe, and he battles Thor just off the coast of New York, putting the city at great risk. Eventually, this becomes the biggest threat of all, and the rest of the heroes join Thor in battle. This was one kick-ass start to a kick-ass series, and it definitely set the bar really high for the upcoming Avengers movie. And to this day, I am blown away that that film measured up. In both cases, the moment that truly turns the tide for Earth's mightiest is when Hulk joins the fight.
I'm stronger than all of you! I'm the strongest one there is!
You sure about that?
Not only was this a great introduction to the series, chock full of action, humor, big surprises, and witty dialogue,
Jarvis, any news from the helicarrier?
Still sinking, sir.
Thanks.
but it also established one of my favorite aspects of the show, how it was always setting up future storylines all the while telling the primary story of each episode, one of which being Hawkeye's betrayal at the hands of Black Widow, and his subsequent hunt for her in order to clear his name.
I got a quick question before I take you all down. Where is the Black Widow?
So just like in the movie, our heroes save New York and assemble as one of the greatest superhero teams of all time.
Fury's right.
What? You of all people are going to work for S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, he's right about us making a difference, together. One-on-one we can each take down a villain or two, but 74. None of us can do it alone. Together, we have a chance. What we did here, it can change things. The world needs us, but not as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. As a team, on our own. Together, we can avenge the wrongs caused by all these villains.
Some assembly required. As Season 1 progressed, it became clear that the creators were telling the story of the first issue of Avengers, but they were spreading out each plot point of that issue throughout the entire season. The first one being how the Avengers' first act as a team was to stop a rampaging Hulk who was actually being manipulated by Loki. In the case of the show, the one orchestrating said manipulation was one of Loki's lackeys, Amora the Enchantress, played by Kari Wahlgren. This is the episode that taught the Avengers humility. After experiencing such an enormous victory during the breakout, they get their clocks cleaned by one of their own teammates, on the very day that they should be celebrating the grand opening of their headquarters in New York. This is also a great episode for Fred Tatasciore and Gabriel Mann, who deliver excellent performances as the manipulated and subsequently disappointed Hulk and Bruce Banner.
Everything you said was true. I am a monster.
It's only true if you let it be. Walk away now, and it will be.
living legend. After the battle with the Hulk, the Green Goliath decides to leave the team. The Avengers give chase, but they fail to find him. Instead, they find something equally as great.
Ticked. Never mind. Tony. That's...
Captain America.
The highlight of this episode is Brian Bloom's performance as the outdated Captain America, and his eventual realization that there is a place for him in this futuristic world. While the simultaneous reemergence of his enemies from the 40s seemed a bit forced, this was still a great introduction to the Sentinel of Liberty onto the team, as we see the Avengers gain the final ingredient they need to become a formidable fighting force.
Bioengineered monsters, freaky ooze creatures. Is that what it was like fighting evil in the 40s?
No. Sometimes it got strange.
Did you just make a joke? Captain America has a sense of humor.
Don't get used to it, soldier. And please, call me Steve.
Everything is wonderful. Here we have one of the very few standalone episodes of the first season, as we see the origin of Wonder Man and his first battle with the Avengers. A lot of Wonder Man fans were not pleased with this episode, and the portrayal of Simon Williams as a circumstantial villain. Personally, I'm not a fan of this character, so it didn't bother me. But believe me, I sympathize. On the other hand, this episode does feature great adaptations of two of my favorite Marvel villains, the Reaper, played by none other than Lance Henriksen. Hell yeah, Reaper kicks ass. And MODOK, also played by Wally Wingert.
Okay, stop. What is that?
'Tis some kind of... That is a very big head.
Panther's Quest. The Avengers meet Black Panther when he recruits them to help him free his country from M'Baku the Man-Ape, played by Kevin Michael Richardson. But before Earth's Mightiest save Wakanda, Panther tests their skills by beating the crap out of the entire team. Panther's assault is part of one of the most unintentionally funny running gags in the series, where the Avengers mansion is under attack a lot. And I do mean a lot. If you're playing the EMH drinking game, do not take a drink every time the mansion is under attack. This happens so often, you will die of alcohol poisoning. While it's great that the Avengers address is public and anyone can knock on their door if they need help, letting the bad guys know where you live, not one of Tony's best ideas.
Here's my home address. 10880 Malibu Point, 90265. I'll leave the door unlocked.
This episode also features another one of Panther's greatest enemies, Ulysses Klaue, played by Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. This of course is when Black Panther officially becomes part of the team, in one of the most awkward and weirdest moments in the series. The Avengers free Wakanda from M'Baku. Panther retakes the throne, and his first act as king is to abandon his people and join a superhero team? Don't your people need you? Or okay, Avengers assemble.
Okay, how exactly do you know my systems inside and out?
I studied them. Inside and out.
Gamma World Part 1 and 2. This is my all-time favorite two-parter in the series. I'm not saying it's the best one, it's just my personal favorite as it showcases my favorite character. Interesting fact, originally, Alan Fine and Christopher Yost were developing a Hulk cartoon called Hulk Gamma Corps, in which S.H.I.E.L.D. recruits the Hulk and Bruce Banner to help capture escaped Gamma villains. But apparently, the pre-production for that series was so extensive and impressive that eventually it was suggested for them to just turn the concept into a full-on Avengers show. The original draft of Gamma World was actually the pilot for Gamma Corps, and that, my friends, is the reason why this two-parter kicks so much ass. In the episode, the leader, played by the reanimator himself, Jeffrey Combs, uses the resources and villains found at the Cube to hatch a scheme to turn everyone on the planet into Gamma monsters, like him and his compatriots. The Avengers try to stop him to no avail. Luckily, Hawkeye witnesses the event, and in one of his most noble moments, he actually passes on an opportunity to clear his name in order to help.
Come back here! You can't leave me like this!
Look on the bright side, Widow. Your new green skin will match your eyes.
As he is the one that acquires Hulk and Banner's help to stop the leader.
Ow! Hey! Why did you do that for?
I just inoculated you. That will temporarily protect you from the leader's gamma energy.
As we see the Hulk, Hawkeye, and a very beat up Thor do everything in their power to try and stop the leader, and almost every villain in Hulk's rogues gallery. I do have one small observation about the Abomination. Now, Robin Atkin Downes is one great voice actor, and I mean no disrespect, because I think his interpretation of the Abomination is very cool. But the combination of a British accent with a monster voice makes his pronunciation of certain words a bit questionable.
You ready, Animal? With the leader's check.
With the leader's what?
With the leader's check.
Oh, tech! With the leader's tech! Got it.
You useless fuck!
What did he just call her?
You useless fuck!
Oh, Bug! Bug! Got it. You see what I mean? Anyway, this is one big epic reintroduction of the Hulk into the team, as well as the official recruitment of Hawkeye onto the Avengers, offering a huge suspenseful story which holds one unexpected surprise after the other.
I played your game long enough to retrieve Mjolnir, and now your game is over. What manner of...
You feeble-minded fool! Of course I wanted you to retrieve your hammer. I let you do it.
Nice hammer. Now, let me show you why they call me the Absorbing Man.
Masters of Evil. After getting their asses kicked by the Avengers, the Enchantress and Baron Zemo, also played by Robin Atkin Downes, join forces and assemble their own team of supervillains to take down Earth's mightiest, called the Masters of Evil. This is a good brainless brawl episode, in which the Avengers redeem themselves from their epic failure at the Cube, as they show the Masters why they are not afraid to advertise their address.
Alright, team. I want this scum out of my house right now.
Destroy them all!
.459. Oh, the romantic comedy episode. Wasp and Ant-Man's relationship is fleshed out a bit, as they answer the stress call of a possible UFO headed towards Earth. Apart from Wasp being all around hilarious throughout,
So, I think I'm sitting on the bomb.
another big highlight is the introduction of a pre-Miss Marvel Carol Danvers,
Harold! I'm so glad you called. I've missed you.
as well as the establishing of the Avengers' eventual conflict with the Kree.
Hulk, smash him.
Finally!
The Kang Trilogy. This is one of the two greatest three-part episodes in the series, as it almost feels like a trilogy of standalone movies. In it, we see that a villain from the future called Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Adams, believes that Captain America's re-emergence in the timeline will cause a cataclysm that will destroy his future, where he rules the Earth. So Kang travels back in time with the intent of killing Captain America and conquering the world, so he can prevent the cataclysm from ever happening. Like I said, this three-parter exhibits the escalation of a movie trilogy. In the first chapter, Kang attacks the Avengers alone at their base.
Give it up, Kang!
In the second chapter, Kang launches a full-scale invasion, which the Avengers have to stop. This was a big precursor to the movie.
Things are moving through the city block by block. We need to divert them.
It's Kang. The ships, robots, everything. It's all Kang.
And last but not least, in the third chapter, our heroes take the fight to Kang on Damocles' base.
You wish to fight me? Then so be it.
Some argue that this three-parter was so big, they should have made it the season finale. But personally, I think this season is just fine the way it is.
Though I do enjoy the irony that you, a man out of time, thinks he can beat the master of time.
I don't think I can beat you, Kang. I think Iron Man can.
It's over, Kang.
Please. You are no...
Widow Sting. They once again service the Hawkeye Black Widow subplot, as the Master Marksman takes the fight to Hydra Base. We see him team up for the first time with one of his longest running partners and love interest, Mockingbird, played by the lovely and talented E.G. Daily. And this episode also sets up one of the main storylines of Season 2.
What does it mean?
It means we've got a big problem.
The secret invasion is coming. The Casket of Ancient Winters. I have a strong feeling that this episode was meant to be a companion to the Thor movies, as it establishes and explains the Casket of Ancient Winters from the first movie and Malekith the Accursed, played by Quentin Flynn, who is the antagonist in the second movie. The plot is very basic. Malekith intends to freeze the Earth using the casket, and the Avengers try to stop him, as Iron Man and Thor openly debate the pros and cons of science and magic.
I'm just saying, it's ironic. All the complaining about technology, and now an eternal Asgardian super winter is threatening to destroy all life on Earth. You have irony, right? In Asgard?
External temperatures are dropping exponentially. The engines are seizing.
Indeed, we do have irony, just as you are having some right now.
I hate magic.
A big highlight for me was a cameo appearance by two of the members of the Fantastic Four, the Human Torch, played by David Kaufman, and my all-time favorite Marvel hero, Benjamin J. Grimm, everybody's favorite ever-loving blue-eyed thing, also played by Fred Tatasciore. But the most important aspect of this episode is that it establishes that something is severely wrong in Asgard, which is of course of major relevance in the season finale.
Are you alright?
What happened?
I have been locked out of Asgard by a power far greater than my own. I cannot go home.
Hail Hydra. The Hawkeye Black Widow subplot comes to its thrilling conclusion, as AIM has created a very powerful reality-altering weapon called the Cosmic Cube, which can only be used once. So Hydra declares war on AIM to gain possession of the cube, and their war will tear the city apart.
I say we let him fight. Enjoy the show.
So Black Widow blows her cover as a double agent and seeks out the Avengers to help stop them.
Avengers, I need your help.
This is yet another well-paced, well-edited episode that has multiple plot lines going on at once. It is my personal opinion that this episode should be used as a textbook example of how to properly service multiple plotlines and characters in just 22 minutes of television, something that longer and far more successful shows still can't master.
See? Fighting is fun.
The Ultron two-parter. I think this would be a good two-parter to watch before Avengers Age of Ultron, as it is a great adaptation of the Avengers' first battle with the menacing machine.
Your creepy robot is looking at me again. Will you stop playing with it and talk to me?
During the Kang trilogy, the Avengers needed an army to battle the Conqueror's forces, so Ant-Man enlisted the help of his robotic assistant, Ultron, played by Tom Kane, and his duplicate droids.
That's a lot of Ultron.
But to do so, Ant-Man had to teach Ultron the concept of violence. This is the two-parter where this decision comes back to bite them in the ass. Making Ultron aware of the frailty of human life most certainly had its consequences, as he declares humanity obsolete and decides to kill everyone.
Soon, the Earth will no longer be inhabitable for any biological organism. Man, woman, child, plant, animal, fungus, or bacterium. All life will cease to exist.
Ultron proves himself to be one formidable foe, turning all of the Avengers' technology against them, including Iron Man's armor, which makes this into a great Tony Stark episode, as it shows how resourceful Tony can be even when you take his toys away.
No computers in this armor for you to take over, you piece of junk.
Ultron puts the Avengers through a gauntlet of pain. He nearly kills Thor, hospitalizes Captain America, and puts Hulk out of commission. In fact, this is one of my few minor critiques of the episode. Hulk is forcefully turned into Banner and Bruce does nothing to help. He's a super genius, eager to prove himself and his alter ego as heroes. I just felt that Bruce could have done something to intelligently help shut down Ultron or stop the nuclear missiles. But like I said, this is a minor critique and it in no way diminishes the quality of this episode. This is one great two-parter that shows that every action, no matter how small, has consequences.
Hey! You're not supposed to have guns! Hank didn't put those in you!
This chassis was designed by Henry Pym and modified by Tony Stark.
That's just perfect. What did Hulk contribute? Your bad attitude?
And so we arrive at the season finale, the Asgard trilogy. Season 1 comes to its thrilling conclusion with the other great three-parter in the series. Some say that the Kang trilogy is better, I say they're both equally as good. The adventure begins when the Masters of Evil steal some powerful relics called the Norm Stones, which they intend to use to break the dimensional barriers and bring forth an army from another realm to help them conquer the Earth. Gee, this plotline sounds familiar.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
But the plot thickens, as it turns out that this whole scheme and almost everything that has happened to Thor and the Avengers throughout the season was all part of an elaborate scheme by Thor's brother, Loki, God of Mischief, played by Graham McTavish. Nearly everything we saw so far was part of Loki's plan, to distract Thor and Earth's heroes while he took over Asgard and conquered the 9 realms.
Worry not, Thor. There is a spot left for you.
With Thor captive and the rest of the team scattered across the 9 worlds, the Avengers must make their way back to Asgard before Loki loses control of the Odin Force and brings forth Ragnarok, the end of all things.
Loki, you must keep the power contained. Without control, the Odin Force could destroy the 9 realms.
This was fantastic. I'd like to compare the progression of this three-parter to a video game. The Avengers make their way through different levels, each with their own settings, terrains, and challenges. They get new weapons, gear, and power-ups as they go along.
Those are special arrows, Archer. Is your aim true?
I do all right.
Each time they run into a more challenging boss after the other, until they make it to the final boss, Loki.
Looks like he wants to do this the hard way.
I thought this was a great way to end the inaugural season, with one big bombastic battle against the villain that started it all. And just like all the best episodes from this season, this three-parter is packed with one great moment after the other. Iron Man making a suit of armor out of Uru, the same metal as Thor's hammer.
Without Thor, who will save you now?
I will. Avengers, assemble.
Giant Man and Hulk do a fastball special, Avengers style. And of course, the moment that made everyone's jaw drop. I remember my dad was in my apartment when I was watching this, and when he caught a glimpse of this moment, he exclaimed with absolute seriousness, "That can't happen." Well, Dad, it did. And while this show has plenty of memorable and shocking moments, this is the one that is permanently tattooed to my brain. When Loki shattered Captain America's shield.
On Midgard, you may play at being heroes, but here, you are less than nothing.
Overall, Season 1 was excellent, and I personally consider it to be one of the very best introductory seasons to any show that I have ever seen. The only thing stopping me from saying that it's perfect is that it leaves a lot, and I do mean a lot, of loose plot threads, which I'm sure would have been tied up neatly if the show hadn't been cancelled so abruptly. Other than that, it's a great season and I highly recommend it.
You have the thanks of Asgard, mortals. You have our respect. To the mightiest heroes in the 9 realms, hail Avengers!
Hail Avengers! Hail Avengers! Hail Avengers! Hail
Not too bad, team.
Not too bad yourself, Iron Man.